Hey Nightbird, what now? We got 3 more good guys added to the main line. Okay, that's great. Where's Scourge and Battletrap? Those 2 won't be happening. Worst main line ever. Sup guys, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Rise of the Beasts mainline Target exclusive Buzzworthy Bumblebee Jungle Mission 3-pack. But this time, instead of Wheeljack, Nightbird, and Cheater, this time it's Bumblebee, Airraiser, and Mirage. Now, you could actually get these figures individually. That's if you live outside the US. As the only way you could obtain these guys in the US is through a 3-pack. Exclusively from Target, of course. Now, for some reason, most of the figures from these 2 3-packs haven't really been that good. Well, actually, half of them at least. But anyways, let's just go through these 3 figures, each individually, starting with Bumblebee. Now, of course, what would the Rise of the Beast mainline be without a deluxe class Bumblebee? And this time they actually decided to make him a little taller, almost similar to the mainline TLK Bumblebee. Although, if I'm being totally honest with you, this design is a little ugly. Painting and sculpting, not really too great. Bumblebee's head sculpt is left unpainted, and a little worse than the Studio Series Bumblebee. And I don't like how you cannot move the chest pieces upwards like you can in Studio Series. He just looks boring this way. And the wings are a bit too big too. Although there are a few parts that I do like about this Bumblebee, that being that they decided to make things a little accurate and put the wheels behind him, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, and his legs are really accurate. Dare I say a little more accurate than the Studio Series. Like, there's little to no kibble on the legs. That's because it's all stored back here. Oh my goodness, that's abysmal. Oh, and unfortunately there's no kibble fix because we got the metal rods. Anyways, let's check out his accessories. So, starting off, here we have his 2 swords that you just plug on to his hands like so. And yeah, if you pose this guy enough, you can actually get him in a decent pose with his little knives. If you want, you can actually like have both the swords in one hand. You just gotta have them. Just gotta have enough room for both hilts to get onto his hand. And yeah, you got like a little sword going on over there. Now, interestingly enough, both swords combine into Bumblebee's little bumper for the Camaro. Oh, and for another extra accessory, it's this little, I don't know, armor bars kind of thing that goes in front of his windshield, in car mode, of course. Anyways, it plugs here to serve as a shield. Not really. I mean, come on, look at this. This is so dumb. At least add some clear plastic in between to make it kind of look like a shield. Sorry, I should have it more like this. But then it looks goofy in this point. Whatever, I guess that's the point. Man, I hate it when it does that. I guess that's the point. I don't know. I guess this is kind of like work as his little tablet so he could use it for like maps or communication through talking with his fellow Autobots. I don't know. Anyways, if you want, you could plug it in where it should go in the alternate mode. It works fine. You could just close it up and forget it existed. As for weapon storage for his knives, not so much. Hold up, we're not done with accessories, surprise, surprise. He actually has that old gimmick from the Last Night Bumblebee where you flip his hand out for this little gun right here. My oh my, has that been missed. Which is 5mm compatible, so you could probably put like some blast effect of some sort. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for accessories. Now let's get down to articulation. Head can swivel, can't really do a ball joint because this thing likes to move up and down. And if the wheels are out like this, it'll cause the head to be more smushed in. That's why you have to have the wheels kind of like that so it keeps the head in place. Which obviously isn't going to stay there. It's temporary. You have to redo it multiple times. Full rotation at the arm. Sometimes you move the arm up, it also happens to move the chest piece up, kind of like that. Apparently this tab isn't connecting into the torso over here properly. That's annoying. His shoulder can shift upwards due to this other hinge joint right there. Bend at the shoulder, bend at the elbow, elbow swivel, wrist swivel, which is something they didn't add on this arm due to the gun. Waist swivel, legs can spread. Leg can move forward. Can't move so far backwards due to the backpack. thigh rotation, bend at the knee, foot can move up and down, and a pivot. Anyways, let's get down a size comparison. Starting off, here is next to Studio Series Rise of the Beast Bumblebee, Studio Series 27 Clunkabee, Studio Series 25, I think, Last Night Bumblebee, which is a reissue of the Last Night Bumblebee, Studio Series RC, Mainline Cheater, Mainline Nightbird, Mainline Pablo, Mainline Optimus Prime, and to be honest, this scale is a little inaccurate. Studio Series Cheater, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, and lastly, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Scourge. Well, anyways, let's get down to transformation, which is pretty messy, but still easy. I don't even know where to start with this guy. I guess you start by opening this up, push that down, which will give you more clearance to rotate the legs. Move this out, close that in, and there will be a slot that will peg into that tab right there. Make sure it tabs into place. You're going to go ahead and fold in the feet. Make sure that slot right there pegs into that tab right there. There we go. Closing the doors, move this down, rotate it, make sure that slot pegs into that tab right there. Come on, get in, there we go. And then you do the same thing for the other side. And then last but not least, you're going to open this up, move this whole section downwards, make sure it all closes in. And this slot right there will peg into that tab right there. And then you do the same thing for the other side. And here we have car mode, and yeah, it's quite flawsome, especially with a different shade of yellow. That looks very weird. It's almost like as if it was discolored. The wheels are pretty big. This car in general just feels big and bulky. Oh, and the arms pretty much go in the same spot as they do in the Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Bumblebee. Oh, and this right here is very, very goofy. And for weapon storage, you're just going to plug the little windshield bar right there. Hopefully it eventually tabs in, and then you come back to this, make sure both of the knives are plugged in together, and then you're just gonna plug them in on the front, and there you go. There we go with the Bumblebee in his off-road version, and I guess it looks a little better. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this guy. Get out of here. Now it's time for Airazor. Now with Airazor, this is actually a good figure. And dare I say better than the Studio Series one. I mean, at least for quality. I had some quality issues with Airazor, especially since one tab broke off. I even did a short on that one. Whereas with this Airazor, not so much. And I prefer the detail on this one rather than the Studio Series one. Even though the Studio Series one was like was pretty much like the closest thing to a accurate live-action Airazor. Whereas this one, not so much. It's focused more on the Beast Wars design. And it's cool, I like it. It's kind of similar to the Beast Wars version, but then it's also got major differences to the original Beast Wars design. Also, believe it or not, I believe this was the first mainline Rise of the Beast figure ever leaked. I remember somewhere around a month or half a month before the trailer came out, people were freaking out over this. And boy oh boy did that get everyone excited. So anyways, painting and sculpting on this figure, really good. I like it. Also, alternate mode kibble was handled a little better. You could probably mess around with Airazor's wings to make it look like she's flying. And it's best if you just fold them down. And I kind of prefer her shoulder pads to be folded down like so. I don't know why, I guess it's just less messy. One thing I don't like is the claws from the alternate mode, blocking Airazor's hand from moving backwards. Oh, and the arms over here are a little loose, especially for the elbow. The legs are pretty good, not much paint going on over here, although I do like how some of the fins for the wing part, or feathers for the wing part, fold in up there. By the way, if you want, you could have the wings folded in like this. Although that's kind of a little bit of a backpack, so it's just better if you have them kind of like this or behind the little butt flap. And now for accessories. So she only comes with like 2 knives, but they're actually cool looking. You could have them holding one in each hand, or if you're a dual wielding psycho like me, you could have Airazor holding both of her swords in one hand, or you could have her holding her swords reverse gripped. And for weapon storage, each sword goes on the back of the wings, connecting into those slots. And yeah, it's pretty good weapon storage. It hides the swords if you look at her in the front pretty good. Man, I kind of wish we got to see what she looked like in robot mode and live action. But nope, she got killed early, and there was no indication of her robot mode in the movie at all. I guess we could just say that she got her T-cog removed, and we'll leave it at that. Anyways, let's get down to articulation. Starting off, ball joint at the head. Barely can see it. Head can move up and down, and can swivel. Back wings can move up and down, and side to side. If you want, you could have the tail feather moving upwards. And the shoulder pads like to close in, or they can move up and down. Full rotation at the arm. Just like Bumblebee, shoulder is on a double hinge due to this extra hinge joint right here. Bend at the shoulder, bend at the elbow, bicep swivel. Wrist can move up and down. No swivel, unfortunately. And no waist swivel either. But hey, legs can spread. Leg can move up that far. If you extend the tail feathers, leg can move all the way. Nah, can't move back because of this thing right here. Thigh rotation, bend at the knee, and lastly, an up and a down. Anyways, let's just get down a size comparison. Starting off, here she is next to her wavemate Bumblebee, Cheater, Nightbird, Studio Series Core Class RC, Mainline Rhinox, Mainline Optimus Primal, which is pretty expensive for some reason, Studio Series Airraiser, Studio Series Cheater, Studio Series Rhinox, and lastly, Studio Series SCOURGE. You know, I just realized we have the whole mainline Rise of the Beasts Maximal gang. Yeah, this is really cool. Can't wait to complete the Studio Series Maximal gang. Anyways, let's get down to transformation, which is also easy. First off, what you're going to do is fold in the shoulder pads, fold in the foot, and then fold in this little side. Once you have the other side done, you're going to make sure you untab this, untab all of this, move this whole section down, open Eraser's bird mode head up and swivel it and close it in. Close in the head, fold in the arms, straighten them out properly, you know, for bird legs. Now, I'm not too sure if they're supposed to be behind or on the side right here. I mean, you could choose which way you want it, but if you want to do it the correct way, I think it's like this. I could be wrong, but I think it's this. Anyways, make sure the legs are facing upwards, move both of them down, rotate the legs, and then this will tab in like so. And if there's gap edge, just make sure you push that all the way in, and that should be able to close everything in as well. Same goes for the other side. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the alternate mode for Airraiser. Yeah, not really too good. Although I do gotta say, I like how the legs and the back wings can join together to make the wing. Now, since the legs over here are a little loose, it's a little difficult to have Airraiser standing on her 2 feet, so yeah, it's not really gonna work. And for articulation, you got a ball joint over here. What was this again? Bicep swivel, up and down for the feet as well. Only thing the legs can do is flap up and down. The tail fins move up and down as well. And if you want the head to articulate, you gotta detach it from over here, and you could have the head moving up and down and looking from left to right. And if you want the wings to fold in, I guess what you could do is detach this, fold, just move it like that, which is kind of goofy and doesn't really look that good, but hey, at least you can fold it. What else better way you could do it? And weapon storage for the alternate mode is same as the robot mode. Oh, and speaking of weapons, I am aware that there's a Battle Masters Airraiser which transforms into a gun. Battle Masters is like some Maximals that, like mini Maximals kinda. They're kinda like in the core class scale, but they turn into cool looking weapons. And of course, I wasn't gonna conclude my little review of Airraiser without her alongside the Maximals in their animal modes. Yep, like I said, cool team. Even though it's not too accurate, it's still cool. Anyways, now let's move to our next figure, that being Mirage. Now, this Mirage, it's a little weaker in regards to quality, design, and proportions. With the design, he doesn't really look much like what he looks like in the movie. Obviously, because he was based off of early concept art. Although, I gotta say, the Mirage head sculpt with the mask, that's pretty cool. Oh, and the arms are just straight up goofy. You can't even see the little car lights over here on his chest piece. And the legs are just so goofy, and they're filled with kibble. Same thing with the backpack. But actually, the backpack handles the kibble nicely. Whereas with the arms and the legs, not so much. Well, actually, the legs aren't too bad. It's pretty much the arms. Either way, still can't wait for that Studio Series Mirage. It looks a little better, but it's still pretty kibble-tastic. Ooh, and I can't wait to see Exosuit Noah. That's really cool. But Exosuit Noah is also based off of early concept art. Same thing with Studio Series Mirage. Whatever. These figures aren't too bad. Anyways, for the weapons, he comes with this little stinger cannon. I mean, it looks like a stinger cannon. Surprise, surprise, is also 5mm compatible. As goofy as it looks, well, kinda, on the right arm, it's a little worse on the left arm. Also, with the way the arm folds alongside with the gun, it almost looks as if you could probably, if you're doing a stop motion with this guy, you could probably animate him transforming his arm kind of like that, or folding the arm, not folding the arm, the cannon outwards. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all he comes with. And for weapon storage, it just plugs in right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the weapons in regards to Mirage. Now let's get down to articulation. Starting off, ball joint at the head, ups and downs, and a swivel, full rotation at the arm, and just like Bumblebee and Airazor, he's on a double hinge, which can make him shift upward and downwards. But actually, he has like 3 hinge joints, well, 2 plus the ball joint. Since the third joint doesn't tab into anything, it makes the arm prone to ending up being down over here. Bent at the shoulder. This annoying thing moves uncontrollably all over the place. Bent at the elbow. Elbow swivel. Can move down and up, but I think that's mainly for transformation. Waist rotation. Legs can spread. Leg can move forward. Can move backwards. Thigh rotation. Bend at the knee. And unfortunately, no foot articulation. Anyways, let's get down a size comparison. Starting off, here he is next to his wave mate Bumblebee, Airazor, Cheater, Nightbird, Pablo, Mainline Optimus, Studio Series RC, Studio Series Freezer, Studio Series Bumblebee, Studio Series Cheater, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, and if that wasn't enough, here he is with next to, you guessed it, Scourge. I milked this guy way too much when it comes to doing size comparisons with Rise of the Beasts / Studio Series Rise of the Beasts figures. But in my defense, all of these 3 characters right here that were in the multi-pack had an affiliation with this guy in the movie. Like, pretty much all 3 of these died because of him. Well, more specifically, he was the cause of all 3 of these guys' death. Anyways, let's get down to transformation, which I think is a little bit more difficult. So starting off, you're going to fold in his hand, rotate that part of the arm, close the wheel in. Now, for some reason, that took me a while to figure out before finding out it was absolutely easy. Do the same thing for the other side, and then what you're going to do next is we're going to work on the legs. What you're going to do is rotate them, which is something I completely keep on forgetting every time I transform this guy. Next, we could work on the back, and opening these up with my hands is not going to work, so I'm just going to borrow Bumblebee's knife, open them up, open this whole section up, open that front piece up, and then detach the whole assembly and leave it out like that. Rotate the arms, close them in. Same thing with the other side. Leave the whole back assembly over here, and then we could work on the legs over here. Open this up, rotate this, move this down like so, and then close this whole assembly in like so, and then close in the back lights. Close in, thank you very much. Once you've done the same thing with the other side, you can go ahead and close in the 2 legs. And lastly, close in this back piece. Make sure it tabs in correctly and neatly, like so. Make sure That tabs in, and then that, of course, tabs in as well. Come on, tab in, tab in. And then make sure that tabs in as well. And here we have the Porsche 911, which is the car mode that Mirage transforms into in the movies. I gotta say, the car mode is spectacular right here. This is really cool. Also, the interesting thing is that Jazz in G1 would turn into Porsche 911 similar to the one that Mirage transforms into. Not sure why they didn't have Mirage turn into Ferrari. Well, in his defense, he actually did transform into a Ferrari, but that was a little nod to G1. That wasn't his primary alternate mode. More like his secondary. It's almost as if they were trying to get rid of Jazz. Not sure why. Jazz would have been perfect for Rise of the Beasts. But hey, they did a good job on Mirage. He ended up stealing the movie, or the show, is what they usually say. Anyways, for weapon storage, the gun just plugs into the back like so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think it goes in here at all. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this guy. And as a matter of fact, I think that pretty much concludes everything for this multi-pack. Overall, it's a pretty good multi-pack, and it's a little more interesting than the other multi-pack, because with this one, of course, they got Bumblebee, Mirage, and Air Razor, whereas I don't really think that Cheater, Wheeljack, and Nightbird are as popular as these three. I don't know, I could be wrong. Anyways, if you want to get these three, check your targets! Apparently, this 3-pack is $59.99, whereas with the other one, it was $54.99. Not sure why they buffed up this 3-pack to like $5. Anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button. Be sure to share it with your friends as well. Be sure to turn on post notifications. That's if it works for you. Sometimes it doesn't work for other people. Not sure how to figure that out. But most importantly, be sure to hit that big red button so we could get to 5,000 subscribers before 2024. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. See ya!